But first, Icon's big announcement.
Icon is a Goliath, right? He's one of the best known activist investors. He's very vocal. He's got a Twitter presence. He's got a blog presence. He's always on TV talking about the investments and the changes he's trying to see happen at those companies he invests in. And he has just announced that he has taken what he describes as a large position in Allergan.
And that's what I'm seeing in the headlines everywhere is, quote, large position, end quote, because we don't know exactly how big it is. We just know it's large, whatever that means. I'm not really sure if he means large for him or large compared to you and me, but whatever it is, he is into this stock, has initiated a position in it, and he praised the CEO quite extensively, saying that he has every confidence in Brent Saunders' ability to enhance value.
Yeah, essentially that was the entire press release, right? It was one big long paragraph where he was basically a cheerleader for Allergan's CEO. Went back to reference how much success he had when he was running Forest Labs, another stock that Icon had owned a lot of and had profited handsomely from when that company got bought by what has since morphed and become into Allergan. And that's how this person has become CEO. Saunders has become CEO of this company. So it seems like Icon's double dipping a little bit. He had a lot of success with this guy at Forest. Now he's going to try to have a lot of success with him at Allergan.
Yeah, you mentioned how short the press release is. I think the thing that pops up on the website that you have to sign off on and say, oh, yeah, I understand that this is all opinion or whatever, I think that was longer than the actual statement itself from Icon, which is kind of interesting coming from a guy that usually has a really elaborate strategy behind his buys. He is an activist investor. He wants to get in there and shake things up. He has a mission, and that doesn't really seem to be the case here.
It's a little odd in that respect, right? One of Icon's biggest, most high-profile bets up until recently was in Apple. He was always agitating for Apple to return more money to investors. You're right. He goes in and he has a game plan. He wants Allergan, ostensibly, to increase shareholder value, right? So the question will be, what is Icon's plan that he will recommend to Saunders to do that? Will it be breaking it up? Will it be returning more money to investors, dividends, buybacks? What will he actually try to advocate for? I mean, he's an activist, so he's got to activate something.
Yeah, my suspicion is that even though he's remaining pretty quiet on it for now, Allergan is trying to sell its generics unit to Teva Pharmaceuticals for $40.5 billion. And there is some doubt about whether or not this will go through, but I bet if it goes through and Allergan gets all this money, which is mostly coming in cash, Icon's going to have something to say about what he wants done with it.
Absolutely, and maybe that's why he's sort of biding time. He's taken this step. Uh, my opinion would be that he feels very confident the FTC will sign off on this deal going through. The expectation was that this deal would happen sometime in June. If so, then the estimate pegs Allergan walking away with about $36 billion in cash and stock after fees are paid out. That's a lot of money. The company's got $42 billion in debt, $36 billion coming in theoretically in cash. Some of that money could go to debt and then a special dividend or some kind of a rewarding investors in some way that way could be on the docket. We'll have to wait and see.
So the stock hasn't really moved that much because of this news. And in fact, it's down roughly 24% year to date. Do you think that Carl Icahn buying in is a sign to everyday investors that they might want to take a closer look?
Well, a lot of these investors, these billionaires have made their money by taking kind of a contrarian stance, right? So a lot of times that's when opportunities emerge, when everybody has panicked away from the stock and knocked the stock down to a value where people can then step in and say, I can buy, a lot of shares of this for fairly cheap money. In Allergan's case, after Pfizer and Allergan got rid of their, proposed merger, $160 billion merger, shares, got whacked. And, we got down to about $200 per share from a peak of 3.25 last fall. and that was, spitting distance, if you will, to the company's book value. So it's certainly possible that, you've got Icon looking at this and saying, this is a pretty, low risk, in his opinion, way of getting exposure to the space. And he's not alone either. I mean, there are other, contrary investors who have also taken stakes recently in Allergan. John Paulson, who's a billionaire investor, has a stake in the company. Dan Loeb, who manages Third Point, which is another very successful hedge fund, he's taken a stake as well. So there's big money that's obviously betting on some sort of a positive outcome